Welcome to Let's Talk About Weddings, a podcast designed for couples that are planning a wedding and preparing for marriage. We're your hosts. I'm Jared.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are 6 Day Films. We're honored to sit down each episode with a wedding professional, vendor, or a marriage expert to ask them a simple question. What advice would you give to every couple that's planning a wedding and preparing for marriage?
Some weeks will be super practical. Some weeks will be a little more philosophical. But every week will be incredibly fun as we spend time with our friends, hearing their stories and learning from their wisdom.
All right, here we go.
Let's talk about weddings.
All right, well, we're back.
We're back.
2-year hiatus-ish. Good to be back.
Kids, man.
Kids, it's true. Yeah, so we, for those of you who don't know, maybe you're tuning in for the first time, we did a podcast for a better part of a year or so called Let's Talk About Weddings, and we're excited to introduce season 2 now with video because everything needs video. So if you need a video, contact us. Anyway, but yeah, excited to be back, excited to sit down. One of the things that we love doing the podcast, I don't assume that you do. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Most days. And one of the things we really missed with that was sitting down with vendor friends and getting to hear their story. And so we're excited to bring that part of it back. But with doing the camera setup and everything now, we wanted to do a one on our own, basically, and give a couple quick life updates and talk about kind of where we're at. And but also follow up to the last podcast we did, which was 6 tips for picking your photographer. We wanted to do some tips in 2025 for finding the perfect videographer for you, because the game has changed in a couple years, really, since we've done this. Things are a little bit different now, and so some things to think through, some things to talk through. But before we get to that, life updates. So in the last 2 years, we had a kid.
Had a kid, little girl.
2 is much more difficult than 1 to schedule around and to figure out life for. So we're grateful for people to step in and help us to get these podcast
Shout out
schedules.
Christina and Tim.
Yes, friends from church for sure. So, and I do apologize for everyone for sounding like I've been smoking. I've not picked up a new habit. I just picked up some kind of bug or sinuses or allergy or something. So I've got your mug here with
The Marlboro Man.
the Marlboro Man. Since
Todd Lyles right
that's
there.
who I sound like. So I thought this was appropriate with tea, which I don't enjoy, but only when I'm sick. So we're letting this steep. My timer will go off here in a little bit, and I'll start drinking that. But I'm supposed to lead worship this weekend at church. We'll see how that goes. I think it's going to be okay.
Nice and raspy.
Nice and raspy. Yeah, that's a style. People would benefit from that. I think that's good.
Worship, I don't think so. Maybe like a cool
whiskey smoked, I think, is the
hip
the
band,
term.
not worship, but
Yeah, giving some camp vibes. But so yeah, we had a kid. And that's been awesome. Definitely different. What would you say is like the biggest challenge in going from 1 to 2?
biggest challenge, childcare.
Yeah, that's a lot.
0 to 1 was jarring.
Right.
1 to 2 is fairly easy.
Yeah, just the childcare.
We've done this
thing.
before. We can do this again. But yeah, gotta find childcare for 2 kids.
Yeah.
So.
And we're picky.
I don't trust a lot of people with my kids. So.
Right. For good reason. We're picky. We're picky. It's good.
I think we're allowed to be.
Absolutely.
So.
Other things that we've done in the last 2 years since we had a podcast, we've gotten to do some destination weddings.
Been to Cabo.
Cabo. That was a trip.
I don't recommend customs in Cabo.
No. The wedding was fantastic.
Wedding was fantastic.
People
were
awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Customs, not so much.
2 thumbs down. Yeah. Should we tell that
I
story?
thought that Jared was going to go to jail.
Yeah.
I literally was in my mind thinking of who I could contact to wire us money to get Jared out of jail.
Well, thankfully, they don't know who Barney Fife is. So all of my references about them being a Barney Fife.
I don't think they understood a lot of things we were saying. So,
which is fine.
Yep, it's totally fine.
We're in a
but
different
they
country.
were not helpful, kind.
No. France. We went to France.
They could care
They
less.
could not care less about us or what we're doing or what we're bringing into the country. We literally got to customs in France, and I was like, hey, we're supposed to get this document signed and go through all this process. And the guy was like, you really want me to call someone to come do that for you, or you could just walk through that gate right there? And I was like,
We'll just walk through the gate.
but he said it in like with a French accent and a little bit snobbier than that. I was like, I'll just go through that gate and keep my mouth shut. Tip my hat to you. Thank you.
Polar opposites.
Yeah, polar opposites. Very different.
Yep.
but good experiences for sure. So we have Cabo, we did France, we've had a kid, a lot of fun life updates. Yeah, it's been good.
Tired.
I'm tired. Yeah, that's one of the things that with doing this podcast, it was like, I want to do it. Every part of me wants to do it, but I'm just so tired. And I don't feel
Well, it's not feasible with a newborn.
Yeah. The newborn phase was not easy.
Just not possible.
But we're back and we're excited. So another update with Sixth Day and Indie Film is that we have an employee now, which is cool and exciting. Jared you can't see him, but he's behind the camera. He's going to be on the podcast in a month or so to just talk about that transition. But it's been incredibly helpful to have that.
Incredibly helpful.
Incredibly
He
helpful.
deserves a raise.
Well, this is awkward.
We're working on it.
I'm doing my best. Okay. Doing my best. But no, incredibly helpful to have that, especially for this season with 2 kids where you've stepped back from weddings a little bit to have, and we have other shooters that we trust and love, but to have that consistent piece there. And he's working on some of the editing, probably doing some of the editing in this podcast right now, and things like that, and being a tremendous help with indie film stuff, our corporate company. So excited for that, and some changes happening with Sixth Day that we're going to be talking about soon as far as like just expanding our team. And we'll probably do an episode about that, just kind of where we're going, what we're excited about, and getting it to where I want it to be and kind of always wanted it to be, which is more of a media house, everything kind of done in-house, but it's not just me. It's not just you. That's hard, and it's not sustainable, and it's not always fun. So having people that you love and you trust and they make you better, is exciting, and it's only gonna benefit our couples. It's only gonna benefit the people that we get to work with and that trust us with their day or with their corporate story, their brand video, that kind of stuff. So we're excited about that as well. All good things. Yeah, it's been a fun 2 years. So in doing this podcast, we wanted to flex this muscle. We wanted to see how it would work with the setup and everything. Especially before we start having guests come in, which we're going to start that next week, which is exciting. We're going to have Brooks Daigle of the Sixpence and Westwood and all the things that they're doing to come and talk about the new venue that they're creating, which we're really incredibly excited about that. Been blessed to be a part of that journey. So we'll get into that more next week. But we wanted to give some tips on what it looks like to pick out a videographer for 2025. As things are changing, the climate's changing a little bit with what it looks like to be in the wedding videography business. And so we just wanted to go back to some basics and make sure that we say, hey, this is what we think that as a couple you should be thinking through as you are making this decision, because it's a big decision, and we are obviously biased, right? But we think this is super important. We think picking your wedding videographer out is an incredibly important thing that you do, because really you're going to walk away with basically 3 assets from your wedding: your spouse, which is obviously the most important; your photos, which are critically important, and they're going to be, on your profile pictures, and they're going to be hanging up in your house, and there's going to be albums that you're looking through. But that third piece is the wedding film, in which you get to relive your day. So we think picking out a wedding videographer and making sure they're aligned with kind of what you're looking for and wanting is incredibly important. So the first point and tip that we would give would be style. Make sure that as you are looking through, the different videographers that are available in your area, or someone that you want to bring in, that their style matches what you are wanting to do with your wedding film. There's a lot of different, I feel like, formats that have come out for wedding videography lately of how it looks, what it is. And they're all great, and they're all have their place. But I think knowing what those are and knowing what people are expecting and what you're expecting and wanting is critically important. I've seen, people come out and they will do these really quirky, different type things. And I would just say, make sure that you're considering this for the long term, because you don't get to redo this video, right? You get one wedding film. And so make sure that whatever that style is that you are keen to, that you're drawn to, that you pick a videographer that does that well. I remember watching a tutorial from a videographer that's pretty well respected, and they have a really cool style, but basically said, he's like, we want your wedding day to feel like a reality TV show. And I was like, that is so not us. That's not what we want at all. We want it to feel very, very different from that. But if that's what you want, then that's what you need to go and get and hire someone that does that well. There's a new kind of trendy thing coming out right now where people are shooting wedding films in the style of Wes Anderson. And I love Wes Anderson. Those movies are some of my favorite movies. I love the quirkiness. I love the way that they like Grand Budapest is one of the best shot films in my opinion. But for your wedding video, you have to decide, like, is that how we want this to feel forever? And I think making sure that the style that you want matches what your videographer does best. For us, we are aiming to be cinematic, story-driven, timeless, something that you can show at any point in time, and it's going to look beautiful. It's going to hold up, and it's going to be something that you're proud to show your kids someday should you choose to have them. So just keep that in mind. Style is important. Point number 2, when picking out a wedding videographer, kind of goes back to the first point a little bit, but think about yourself 20 years from now. When you're picking out your wedding video, think about yourself 20 years from now. This is a conversation I have with every couple that inquires with us. What is it that you want? What is it that you're looking for? And put yourself in that room 20 years from now, rewatching this for hopefully the 20th time or the 200th time or whatever that is, maybe with kids at that point that are older. But what are you going to want to see? What are you going to want to remember? What are you going to want to relive? And I think this is a really good perspective shift on some other things that we're going to talk about later on. But putting yourself in that seat to say, okay, what is going to be important to me at that moment? And I think that's critically important to do, because without that, you might walk away with something that looks good today, but in 20 years, you might be embarrassed by that, or 20 years, you might wish you have done something different. So kind of keep that aspect in mind. For example, when you're picking out your film and you're thinking about your film or your videographer, what are you going to want to see? What are you going to want to relive? What are you going to want to remember? Is it those vows that you made, which are critically important at different times in your life? You're going to need those reminders, those promises that you made. Is it the speeches, the best man, the maid of honor, the fathers that in 20 years, you don't know what's coming in the future. And so what are you going to want to remember? What are you going to want to hold on to? And I think sometimes we can get caught in
and it can be a couple things too.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of times couples are like, I want this, 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 and this, and this. And it's like, great. It doesn't have to be one thing. Like for our wedding, it was very like, we want to see as many people as we can, because this is the one time that all of our friends, all of our family is going to be in one room together. So it was like, I want to make sure we get shots of as many people as we possibly can. Like, our friends are fun. Our wedding party was fun. And it was like, hone in on that for the reception. Like, we just had very specific, like, so it can be a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think that is a scary question for a couple of like, what do you want to see? Well, I have no idea.
Right.
Like, so
Yeah.
it can be a lot of things. I mean, this is most of them are 5 to 7 minutes. It's like, well, that's a lot of content. So it's like, what do you want?
Yeah. You can cover
What
a lot
do you
of
want
ground
to
with
see?
that.
So
Yeah.
it's just something to be mindful about.
And that's something I tell every couple too in our meetings is like, I'm not going to be watching this in 20 years. Maybe if it's a trip across the country or Italy or something like that, just putting that out there. We'd love to shoot a wedding in Italy, so hit us up. But we're not going to be watching this. And I'm going to say something a little bit controversial here. A wedding film is not the time for a wedding filmmaker to flex their muscles of creativity. I think it's the purpose.
Unless they specifically ask for that.
Yeah, unless it's like,
but
we want to be different, we want to be artistic, but I think the purpose of the wedding film is to serve the couple well and to tell their story in a beautiful way and to have something that they can look back to and be excited about to share with their kids for future generations, all those kinds of things. And so I think, having that mindset of looking down the road a little bit, I'm a little bit more mature, a little bit more life has happened. What's that going to look like? What are we going to remember? I think it's critically important. Number 3, we have, this is also kind of controversial, I guess, given our day and age, but number 3 is trends are not your friends. Trends come and go. and they are a flash in the pan. And so when you're looking at videographers for your wedding, if you see something that is really trendy, that you like what they're doing, don't just pick a videographer because they're doing that trendy thing at that moment. Look at their portfolio of work. Make sure that that main deliverable that you're getting, that you're going to be, again, watching 20 years from now, is in the style that you want it to be, not just because they dance to TikTok or they did this thing or they look like they're fun. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but make sure that you're not just picking them because they did this trendy shot or this trendy thing that you saw, because those things are going to come and go. Those things are going to, be here one day and gone the next. It'd be like if you picked out a wedding videographer because you love the Harlem Shake and they were really good at the Harlem Shake. Like, it's just like, that would be so silly. And if you think about yourself in 15, 20 years, that's just not going to be something that is sustainable that you're going to be watching. But them telling your story in a beautiful way is what you're going to find. And so that's a little bit of a maybe controversial. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think you can also add into that some of those trends can be in your video. So like, I feel like you did a wedding, this was a while ago, that I don't remember if I wasn't a part of that meeting, but like, I don't know if they said they like the fast, like, shots of like just but I feel like some receptions you don't do that, but then some weddings it's like this fun, like weird shots and like fun shots and like.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between like trends and style of edit and pacing and things like that. A trend that I'm thinking about that like was really popular when we first got started, but that I don't see as much today, is reading your vows to the camera. I can't tell you the last time that we did that. And early on, I can't tell you a time that we didn't do that. Couples are always doing that. And it doesn't mean that that's a trend or it's a bad thing, or if you did that, like it's dating your video, nothing like that. But make sure that's what you want it to be for the long haul. And that's what you're enjoying. And that's what you enjoy seeing. I think those couples that did that are glad that they did. I think those couples that are not doing that now are perfectly fine with that choice, and they feel good about that, and they're doing a lot of vows or at first looks. I think is an incredibly sweet way to do it. It's always evolving, always changing a little bit. One of the, like, when I think about trends in wedding films, I think about like the Wes Anderson style, and maybe that served them well for years and years to come, and it is really cool and it does look great. But that's definitely a particular style or particular aspect that I think couples have to make that decision on. Another thing I think through is like there was a big trend of like hands wrapped around putting on the rings at the same time. That was like a shot that every couple wanted. And I was like, that's more of a trend to me. It's like, that's not going to be something that, we take 5 minutes to set this up. But I don't think it's going to be something that is here for the long haul.
Or makes or breaks the video.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No one's going to you're not going to look back and go, I wish we would have got that shot. Geesh. I think another trend that we definitely got caught up with when we first got started was making films with no audio. So just wedding films that are moving pictures set to music, which is fine. And that's great if that's what you want, but there's no real like story there. That's what I first learned on when I very first started this business. That was the first wedding films that I saw. There was a story through pictures, but there was no like miking people up. There was no vows. There was none of that stuff going on. And I look back on that and I'm like, those are great. Those are fine. But in 15, 20 years, how much more valuable would it be to be able to hear those voices, to hear that story, to hear your dad giving a speech, to hear your maid of honor, those kinds of things, your vows for each other. And so as you're picking out a videographer, kind of think through that. What do you want? What are you looking for? And what's going to be important to you down the road?
Thank you so much for listening to the Let's Talk About Weddings podcast. It truly means the world to us, and we hope you find it helpful as you plan your wedding and prepare for marriage. Even with all the great advice you're getting from different wedding pros, we know that every couple still has the same problem no matter who they are, what their wedding day looks like, or how much time you spend planning. It's the blur. Blur is the enemy. You spend all this time, energy, and money creating a beautiful day, and it literally flies by. That's where we come in. At 6 Day Films, we create timeless cinematic highlight films that tell your story and slow down the blur. If you'd like to chat about us joining your wedding day, please visit our website, 6dayfilms.com. That's the number 6, THDAYFILMS.com. To find out more information, check out a few of our films, and fill out the contact form. Now, let's get back to our conversation.
Number 4 is know who's actually doing the work. I feel like this might also be a controversial point to a certain degree, but we've noticed when we first got started in the wedding business, we received a lot of referrals from different videographers that were already booked or, whatever. And then they kind of disperse things out a little bit. But since that time, we have noticed a trend of people double booking, triple booking, and you'll hear some horror stories about this as well from couples that, they hired one person and then a different person showed up. And know who's doing the work on your wedding day. There is nothing wrong with outsourcing. There's nothing wrong with hiring someone else to associate shoot for you. We do that from time to time, but we are incredibly clear up front who's going to be at your wedding so that you can make an informed choice. That should never be something that catches a couple off guard. I feel like that is shady business practices. I don't like that at all. Like we just received an email from someone that wants us to shoot their wedding, but we're already booked that day. And I was like, hey, this is one, a lot of times we will just pass these on to other videographers, but this is one I was like, I feel like we should try to do this. And so I was very clear in my communication of like, hey, I'm not personally available, but if you do book us, we're going to hire someone, or we'll send one of our team members that we've trained that's been working with us, Jared or Daniel or someone else that knows our style, that you're going to get a 6-day film when you walk away from this. I think that's really, really important. So when you're in those meetings, when you're having those conversations, don't be afraid to ask that question of who's going to be there on the wedding day, because a person and a personality can change the whole vibe of a wedding day. What are your thoughts on that?
So is that really a thing? Say I meet with you, we have this great conversation, I feel really confident, hire you, and then some random person shows up.
Well, that doesn't happen with us.
I'm
But
not saying.
yes, yeah, that happens quite a bit. I think that's like I literally read a post about that this morning on a videography forum where a guy was kind of venting about that of like what happened to, and there's nothing wrong with like capitalism and trying to expand your business through growth and all those kinds of things. But when I think it has to be done with integrity and generosity and transparency. Yes, 100%. And transparency, absolutely. Like I know some friends of ours, they wanted a specific videographer. They were already booked. They wanted that person so bad that they were like, just hire an associate to shoot it. We want you to edit it. We want you to do all these things. So if you have your heart set on someone, there are ways to make that happen. But I would just make sure, for transparency's sake, who's going to be there. Like I read a big post about a photographer that does this on the regular, and she's changed her company name several times because people are leaving her bad reviews and like doing all these things to try to get people to stop booking her. But she will triple book, quadruple book a wedding and then hire out people that are not as skilled as her. So they're seeing this portfolio of work, and it's beautiful and it's amazing. And then on the wedding day, they're getting someone that has 1 to 2 years of experience and getting paid $30 an hour to come and shoot a wedding. When they might have charged $5, $10, $7, or they might have charged $5, $10, $15,000, but the skill set, the person, the equipment is not worth that thing. And so, just be conscious of that. Think through that. For us, when we have those conversations, we're quick to say, hey, we're already booked that day, or we're not available that day. I'm sure we can get one of our associates to shoot that for us, but we do want to be transparent that it won't be, me or you necessarily on the wedding day, because that's important, because that personal touch of having that connection with people, of how that vibe is like, we want you to feel a certain way when we shoot your wedding. That's a peace, that's a calm, that's a sense of like that we're for you, we're going to problem solve for you. We want you to walk away feeling like we're friends, that you trust us, that we're for you, that we're making decisions on your behalf. And when we just throw in someone that is random or someone that doesn't have any skill set, that's not an appropriate way to do business, in my opinion.
Well, and I think it comes down to just do your research.
Yeah. Have these conversations.
And heavy research, not just like skim an Instagram where you're like, oh, I like that.
Right.
Like actually look at reviews, look at websites, look at Instagram, look at whatever it is that it is. But I think that is what I think that's what we tell even our friends that are getting married. It's like, do your research, look at everything that's not just videography, that's photography, that's if you're going to have a wedding coordinator, if hair, makeup, all of that is so important. Don't just like look at something, you're like, oh, I kind of like that, we'll go with them. It's like, well, do your research.
Yeah. So our next point kind of rolls right into that, and you basically just said what I was thinking for point number 5, but that's talk to the person on the phone, in person, on a Zoom
You're
meeting.
going to know immediately if you're not a good fit.
Yeah. I'm a big like go with my gut kind of person when it comes to that thing, and people can present very differently over email and their website and all those kinds of things. But talk to them in person or talk to them over the phone, have that conversation, see if that connection is there, because this is a person that's going to be with you your entire wedding day. And then they're going to be in charge of telling your story. Yeah. So you want to make sure this is a person.
We joke that like you're with your photographer and your videographer more than you are your future spouse.
Yeah.
And it is kind of true.
Yeah. It's not a joke. It's reality. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think know if that connection is there and know if that feels like a good fit for you personality wise. So if it, if the style fits and the budget fits and all these things, but you just don't vibe with them as a person, or it's hard to hold a conversation with them, or any of those kinds of things, like
it's okay to say this isn't
a good fit. Yeah. And I'm not everybody's cup of tea, pun intended. And that's fine. Like I tell this to couples all the time, like the perfect videographer is out there for you. That might not be us, and that's okay, because our heart and our desire is for you to have your story told in a beautiful way that fits what you want, that is in line with what you see in your vision, and is something that you're going to hold on to, because again, we're not going to be watching this forever. You will be. That's so important. So have that conversation in person, talk with them on the phone, ask them questions. This is a job interview. Like keep that in mind too. Like you are hiring them to do a job. But you're also hiring them to be a part of a very intimate day for you, a very personal day, one of the biggest days of your life. Like do your due diligence. And side point with this, if you're trusting a planner to do all of this for you, if you picked a planner, if you're going with like a full service, like trust their intuition as well. If they will have worked with videographers, with photographers, different venues, different vendors all around, like trust their expertise on this. But I'm the kind of person that I like to vet people myself to a certain degree. So we get it. If you're busy, if you don't have time for that, that's totally cool. But make sure those connections are good and they are the kind of person that's going to bring peace and calm to your day. Also know kind of what you're getting with like a videographer as far as setup. Do you want a really minimalistic person that's going to have one camera? They're going to be a fly on the wall and they're going to use audio from their camera and it's going to be very hands off? Do you want a person that brings in a big production and they're shooting with Hollywood level cameras and everything's well lit and perfect? Like those are all trade-offs that you're going to have to make. For us, I would say we're somewhere in the mid-level production. Like we're going to shoot things multicam. I'm going to mic people up. We want great audio. We're going to light your dance floor, but we're going to try to be minimalistic as well, in the sense of like, we're not going to try to bug you. We're not going to try to be in your face the whole day. When you're selecting someone, just kind of know the amount of work that's going to go into it, of the amount of time that you're going to have to give to this on your wedding day. Because some videographers sit down with family members and they do this whole like interview setup and they're asking them questions and there's a full schedule. And it's like, do you want that on your wedding day? Is that something that you want? If that's what you want, then you need to go and hire that person to do that well. Other videographers like us, we try to be minimalistic, but also very intentional with the amount of equipment we use to get the best product that we can without being invasive on your day, without being super in your face or taking up a bunch of your time. Because at the end of the day, it's your wedding day. It's not about the video. It's about the wedding day, the experience that you're having fun with your group of friends and enjoying this experience. And so make sure that you have that conversation. You know what goes into that. Point number 6 for this is the fun one to talk about, and that's budget. Know thyself, know thy budget. But keep in mind, your video is very important. And so when you're looking at your budget and how much you should set aside for your videographer, if you're going to do that, all those kinds of things, keep in mind that Like, as you are creating this event, this experience for yourselves as a couple, for your family, your friends, you're throwing all of these things into this to create a day that you want to remember forever. Don't skimp out on a video because you think that you can, because like I said earlier, this is going to be one of the few things that you walk away with that you're going to have for the rest of your life. This is going to be one of the few things that you walk away with that you have for the rest of your life, that you get to experience and enjoy and relive over and over. And all that hard work that you put into planning this event, all that money that you spent, don't like not get a video because you think you can save, when you're just going to get that one day out of all that work. When you have a video, you get to relive this for the rest of your life in a way. I think like one of the things as you're making this decision, I think it's important to lock in a videographer that you trust and you love their work, even if it's a shorter video or a shorter time. Because like for us, example, you can always upgrade your package. Like let's say you want to lock in at one of our lower packages. Anytime before the wedding, you can always upgrade your package to get more coverage. After the wedding, you know, we're going to shoot this. We shoot every wedding as if you're going to come back the next day and say, hey, I want a full documentary edit. I want to be able to see the whole ceremony. I want to be able to get all the speeches, everything in full. So we shoot it that way intentionally, because we know sometimes couples have to do this. You have to make sacrifices. You have to make informed decisions on your budget. And then you walk away from that and you go, I wish we would have upgraded, or wish we would have gotten X, Y, or Z. And we're like, hey, we got you. Like we've got all this in storage. Yeah, you had this size of a film. You can upgrade to this later on, and we can make that happen for you. And so I think that's important to not like, if you want a 30-minute wedding film from a videographer that's a little bit inexperienced, that's completely fine. Know that that's what you're getting and that's what you're wanting. But if you're like, I love this other style, I don't know that we can afford it, go in, get locked in with that videographer that you love, and then know that you can adjust that later if you need to.
Yeah, and I said this I think quite a few times in Reese or our other, podcasts, but like, what are your non-negotiables? And you as a couple have to figure that out. And we had our non-negotiables, and that was video and photo were our two biggest things. And it, food was not a top priority for us.
Right.
And it is for some people,
Yeah.
and that's totally fine. Like if you're wanting this full meal, that's fantastic. That just wasn't a non-negotiable for us. And so
Yeah.
I think we knew what those were, and then we planned around that. And I think that's important too. It's just like you as a couple figure out what are the top 4 things that are the most important that we want, that we know our money's going to go towards. And then I think everything else naturally just kind of comes into play.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Flowers were, I don't want to get into flowers. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Flowers were important, but I knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how to say that, because flowers are important. And I think that that's a big thing for some brides. It's like, I want all the florals, as many as I possibly can. That's fantastic. I think you should do that.
Yeah.
That wasn't a top priority for me.
Right. I think know yourself, know what you want, know what you're looking for. And that's, and have, realistic expectations for that. There's some couples that like a band is a non-negotiable. We've got to have this band that cost 10 grand,
right.
15 grand, whatever that.
Then work around it.
Then you work around it and you go from there. You put the big rocks in the bucket and then you figure everything else out from there. And I would just say, as an encouragement, as a person who, obviously I'm biased and I believe in wedding videography and what it is, just remember all the work that you're putting into this. You want to have a wedding video that represents that well, and that you're excited to show, and that you're excited to bring out every year on your anniversary, or watch every day if you want to. But go with someone that you love their style, that you trust them, that they're going to bring a joyful experience to your wedding day. We've had so many brides and couples say, like, you guys were the best money that we spent. Like, we get to relive this over and over and over, and we get to hear our stories, and we can't wait to show our kids someday. And so it's important. I think it's just another thing to think through. So in recap, do this really quickly. Style, think about yourself 20 years down the road. Trends are not your friends. Know who's actually going to do the work. Speak with them on the phone. Make sure that there's a good connection there, and know your budget, but have a realistic expectation of video to get a great quality video for the wedding that you're having, the celebration that you're going to do. So that's it for today. We did it. We flexed this muscle. We've not worked this muscle in a while. So
It's true.
my voice held up. I feel like I sound better. You be the judge of that, I guess. But next week we'll be filming a podcast with Brooks. We're excited to have that out in a few weeks and get to talk about the Westwood. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this, and we'll see you next time.